This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I'm joined by $1 Million Crolla here in London. Anthony, firstly, how are you?
How are we? I'm good, mate. Good to be down here. I was down here yesterday for the workout. Personally, I'm looking forward to the show on Saturday. I think the main event, really intriguing. So hard to pick a winner, and there's something to look forward to on the undercard as well.
Now, I'm not usually one to do this, but the attire you are wearing, can you explain to me what I'm witnessing here?
It's had some feedback today, a bit mixed. I've gone full Paddington Bear, haven't I, basically? But no, mate, I'm comfy and I love a twin set.
Well, as long as you're comfortable, mate. Obviously, as you mentioned, we're here in London, Jacobs-Ryder on Saturday night. What are your thoughts on the main event, Ant?
It's so hard to call. I think I've said it a few times, and I think, listen, the big question is, what has Daniel Jacobs got left? I believe if it's the Daniel Jacobs who, was pushed so close against Rosado, I believe John Ryder does it on Saturday. But then if it's you, Daniel Jacobs that could have got the decision against Golovkin, then you've got to favour Daniel Jacobs, pretty big. And that's what makes it intriguing. I don't know whether it's sort of, with knowing John and sort of being in my heart a little bit. Oh, Tom, boys, I'll see you then. See you then, boys. Take care, boys.
Thought he was getting kicked out.
Yes, I did. I thought he was leaving. Yeah, and I think that I just got a feeling John can out-hustle him on a close points decision. I could end up looking silly with that if Jacobs got so much more, because obviously the pedigree, without a doubt, lies with Jacobs. But I think just timing could be so important here.
Is this a crossroads fight?
Yeah, it is. It really is. But I was surprised in the press conference then when John Ryder said basically, the winners, the losers don't know. And I was a bit like, oh wow, because I would have expected Jacobs to say that. If he doesn't win, that's him done. But with John, I think because he's going in there an underdog, I know he's pretty tight on the odds, but it's a big listen. It's the winner of this. If it wasn't the Canelo situation, which is fantastic, we've got so many awards, 4 belts, major belts. There's a great chance this would be for the full world title.
And when you look at the undercard, is there any fight in particular that you're looking forward to the most?
I really I'm a big Ellie Scottney fan. I am, so I'm looking forward to watching her. I believe she becomes world champion later this year, and I also believe she probably does it over a career at a few different weights. The opponent, so I just remember from the Rachel Ball fight, I think she tried shaving her head off somewhat just to make weight. So there's a lot of desire there, but I believe Ellie does the job, and she does it in style and does it inside the distance on Saturday. I think I always say how the women's game's flying, but she's one of the main people that's going to be involved in that. The way just keeps rocketing.
And just on the women's side of the sport, Tasha Jonas, obviously somebody you see day in, day out, moving up 3 weights, moving up considerably to 154 to challenge for a world title. How does Tasha feel about that, having to jump up so much given her past ventures at different weight?
Tasha's just absolutely fine. She was like, anyone between super feather and super well, I'll fight as long as she wants that world title. And I believe she's got a great chance of doing it next week. She looks well in the gym. Listen, is she a light middle super well? No, she's not. But she hits hard at the lower weight, so that'll help. She can take that power up a bit. But I don't think it'll come down to that. I think it comes down to a pedigree. Former Olympian, she can box at times, and she can box lovely at times. And I think her own pedigree will be enough to see her own. But it's a tough fight.
And we mentioned Canelo earlier on. There's a lot of talk about what's going to be happening next for him. Apparently he's close to accepting an $85 million deal to face Bivol in May and then Triple G in the trilogy later this year. What are your thoughts on both of those fights?
You've got to just Canelo, massive respect to him, because for me Bivol is one of the hardest fights you could possibly have out there. A light heavyweight. It might not be the biggest light heavyweight, but he's also, lovely boxer, moves very well. Stylistically, you think he'd be the type to give Canelo problems. And the Golovkin fight, it's the fact, listen, should have there been a third fight before, maybe till now, and I think now I really favour Canelo in that to win a lot more convincing than he did last time out. I think when you look at those 2 fights, I think Golovkin's unlucky not to have come away with, a win in one of them. But I feel like now it should be 1-1. I feel like it should be a rubber match, but probably should have happened already. But listen, at the same time, you certainly can't be accusing Canelo of avoiding things, or when you look at the names he took on.
Away from Canelo, obviously a couple of weeks ago, we saw those huge purse bids between Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte. What were your thoughts on that and Dillian's radio silence, as it were, since?
He's possibly smart, because it's like in the way where like Tyson, you keep asking him where he is. But I don't think you can ruffle too many feathers with Tyson. I think he's half, messing around. But I think that, Dillian's probably doing the right thing. Listen, he's going to get paid an amazing amount of money. He can just get away now, get his head down, work hard. I don't believe with the talk of it not happening. I believe 100% it will happen. I think we're just waiting on confirmation now to see when and where.
How does that fight play out in your mind?
I've always said I believe a fit and focused Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight on the planet, and that remains for this. He might have to take 1 or 2 big ones on the way off Dillian, but I think Tyson starts a pretty big favourite in that.
Away from that, Chris Eubank Jr., Jr-Benn.
Yes,
would you be interested in?
I'll be honest, I'm a bit more of a realist. There's so many more fights than what I see before that. We were speaking to Conor yesterday, and he was genuinely like, he's up for it, and he would be. But I think, listen, the improvement in Conor Benn has been amazing. I think so improved, and he works so hard, and he's only just going to keep getting better and better. But I don't think Eubank Jr. could take any more off that frame of his, that middleweight. He's I think absolutely ripped to the bone. I think he'd be cutting away muscle, and it just wouldn't make sense for him to do.
You've got Khan-Brook next weekend. He's finally come about. What are your thoughts on the fight? Break it down for me.
Mate, honestly, I try my hardest not to sit on the fence, but with this one, it's just so hard to call because being realistic, we don't know what either's got left, and they've both been two amazing fighters. I like, both lads, and I think just the weight coming to it, it certainly favours Amir rather than Crolla, because I think it doesn't matter how well he's got a great team behind him. Dom's very switched on nutritionally, as well as I think he uses Greg. I think so. They say imagine, but I just believe that his frame's that big. It doesn't matter how well you do it, it's going to take some out of you. But then as well, he still has got fantastic timing, which does that then defeat Amir's speed. It's just so hard to call. I think the first 4 rounds certainly favour Kell. After that, you lean towards Amir.
If you had to put your last pound on it, who would you go to?
I really wouldn't want to put any money on it because it's that hard to call. I think it could. Next week, I think I'll be able to say, but I probably just lean towards. I think the weight's going to be an issue. Just lean towards Amir.
Is this one which you think could end up being a draw, because there was talk of a rematch clause which has been spoken about as well?
Yeah, you never know. For me, I think both fighters have had an amazing career, both earned very good money, both got young families. I'd love to see both the winner and loser walk away. Listen, if it's a great fight, they might do it again. Do you know what I mean? But other than that, I'd like to see both of them, call it day after this.
I imagine you'll be there if it's in Manchester.
You'd think so, but I'm meant to be going away that night, so I'm still not sure. It depends what time Tash is there, but otherwise I'll be there. I'll be there all around fight week.
All right, and I appreciate your time now. I'll leave you to shoot back up north. Thanks for speaking to me in boxing.
Yeah, man. Always good to see you, Andi. Yeah.